The peculiar and disquieting collision of politics, religion, and artificial intelligence has led to this very strange picture here of Donald Trump, the 45th President of the United States, and is he the 45th or 47th? I can't remember. Who's posted the AI-generated image of himself dressed as the Pope in mitre, cassock, crucifix and all across his social media accounts, including the official White House Twitter account. The timing was hardly incidental. It followed the funeral of Pope Francis and just days before the opening of the sacred conclave to elect his successor. What may seem to some as political pantomime, or what Trump dismissed as a joke, is in fact a deeply offensive and symbolically loaded gesture. The question before us is not whether satire should be allowed. It should. The question is, should it be done by the leader of the free world, and at what cost? To understand the full weight of the act, we need to appreciate the symbolic authority of the papacy. The Pope is not merely a religious leader for 1.4 billion Catholics, he's also an icon of moral guidance, global diplomacy and spiritual sovereignty. When an image of a sitting US president is digitally fabricated to place him on the chair of St. Peter, in other words, especially while the church is in mourning, the implications are not just ecclesiastical, they are political and cultural. And this is not a comedian on a late-night show parodying Vatican bureaucracy. This is the commander-in-chief who controls nuclear codes and federal agencies, distributing visual propaganda that suggests a divine mandate, a messianic role, and perhaps a disdainful chuckle at sacred tradition. The defense, of course, is that it's just a joke. But comedy has context. When Monty Python satirized religion in The Life of Brian, it was clear that they were lampooning the absurdities of dogma, not desecrating grief. When Charlie Hebdo drew caricatures, it's journalism through proof through provocation, and that's questionable. Trump is not a satirist. That is not questionable. He is not mocking power from below, he is power. And when power mocks the sacred, it shifts from satire to desecration. It's the difference between a court jester poking fun at the king and the king donning priestly robes and declaring himself God's chosen. The problem is compounded by the theological confusion it fosters among his base. Trump has long been spoken of in quasi-messianic terms by his supporters, particularly among Christian nationalists. And when he survives assassination attempts and proclaims he was saved by God, and when he advertises Trump-branded Bibles, he is cultivating a cult of personality with divine undertones. So the image of him as Pope is not satire, it's iconography about supremacy. Moreover, it is politically hypocritical. Would the White House dare post a picture of the president in Orthodox Jewish robes at the Wailing Wall, or as the Grand Mufti of Mecca? Of course not, and rightly so. That would be recognized immediately as inappropriate, culturally incendiary, an act of aggression. But for some reason, Catholicism in particular has become the acceptable punching bag of American satire, perhaps because it is both institutionally powerful and liturgically misunderstood. Let's remember the historical weight here. American Catholics, particularly Irish and Italian communities, have long endured waves of anti-Catholic sentiment, from the Know Nothing Party to the Ku Klux Klan. Trump's digital insertion of himself, therefore, into the most sacred vestments of the church is not harmless play. It is, as the ancient order of Hibernians put it, a 21st century resurrection of defamatory Thomas Nast cartoons. So what should we take away from this story? We must reject the facile shrug of just a joke when coming from those who wield the levers of state. Satire, when conducted by private citizens or artists, is part of a healthy, self-critical democracy. But when sacred imagery is appropriated by those who control armies, borders, and algorithms, the game changes. It becomes propaganda, not parody. It's not about what the image is, but about who promotes it. The Pope-Trump image trivializes grief, mocks sacred rites, and manipulates iconography to consolidate nationalist religiosity. It's not simply tasteless, it's a breach of civic decorum and a slap in the face to pluralism and respect. If there is any residual belief that presidents must rise to the dignity of their office, then this image, this episode, should remind us of how far that dignity can fail.